In this module, we'll look at types of reflection. Hatton and Smith identified two types of reflective practice. One is dialogic reflection and the other is critical reflection. Each is different and represents a different level of engagement in reflective practice. Let's look at dialogic reflection first of all. Dialogic reflection refers to a less intensive process than critical reflection and involves a self-discourse with the teacher. It's an attempt to explore an event internally. It involves considering the judgments and the decisions that the teacher has made during their teaching. Dialogic reflection is an example of a basic form of reflection proposed initially by Brockbank and McGill in 2000. They said that in dialogic reflection, the individual thinks about what they're going to do in their teaching, about the information they'd like to convey to the students, and how they will do this, the methods they will use to convey that information. They will also consider the level of engagement of the student in the class. Afterwards, they then reflect on learning. They think about how far the individual goals for the students, the objectives for the lesson of the teacher have actually been met. This can be represented in the following model. We can see that dialogic reflection starts with some pre-thinking about what is going to be taught. Then the lesson takes place, and then there's reflection on what happened in that lesson. Dialogic reflection, as with all forms of reflection, is based in a constructivist approach to teaching, and therefore requires the teacher to evaluate and re-evaluate their personal view and thinking about education, teaching and learning. While this is an important first step, there are some people who say that it is essentially purely about awareness raising, and although it can improve confidence, it doesn't necessarily improve the situation. It doesn't necessarily make a difference to the quality of teaching. This is in contrast to critical reflection. This refers to efforts from a much broader perspective, thinking about historical, even political perspectives on the problems which are being encountered. This has been described by Boyd and Fales as the core difference between whether a person repeats the same experience several times, becoming highly proficient in one behaviour, or learns from experience in such a way to be cognitively and effectively changed. Therefore, critical reflection facilitates transformational learning in a way that dialogic reflection does not. And transformational learning can happen gradually, slowly, over a period of time, or it can happen quite suddenly based on some critical situation in the classroom. What do these considerations therefore mean about reflective practice? Well, it suggests that reflective practice is non-judgmental and it is also collaborative. It should be flexible and based on open-mindedness. Also, the effective reflective practitioner must recognize that learning from what doesn't work is also extremely valuable. There must be room for failure in the reflective process. Reflective practice is more effective when teachers and students work together. Learning from others is also another significant factor in reflective practice. It is enhanced through collaboration and dialogue with colleagues and others. Reflective practice, therefore, for the teacher means being a lifelong learner.